Okay, so here I am again. Um, I I would rather show up with my hair done and my face on, but also it's the weekend and no, I'm not doing it. But I wanted to record this while I'm in the process of things. Number one, so in the last couple videos I've made, I've been talking about the healing process and touched on a little bit of how I have processed through certain things in the past. What came to me as I was journaling this morning, because uh, I discovered yet another trigger that I need to work on healing. And what came to me as I was journaling about it this morning was don't rush the healing process, allow love's flow. So I am just amazed at how guided I am. And I imagine I'm not the only one. What happens is we are not attuned to noticing things. And how you become attuned is to be intentional about that. But I'm not going to dwell on that at the moment. So I've been listening to a book called, oh gosh, I forgot the name of it again. What is it? Becoming an Elder by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who is the author of Women Who Run with the Wolves and many other amazing, deeply spiritual and psychological books. And she's been, invited on podcasts and all kinds of stuff. So listening to her it's uplifting to your heart and soul. It's encouraging and nourishing to your soul. There's a peace and a comfort. You know that this wise soul, this wise person is talking to you and telling you everything's going to be all right. And there are things you have to embrace in life because it's just part of life. There are things that are meant to be the way they are. You are meant to be the way you are. And also at the same time, we're meant to grow and become more. It would be a disappointment if you had a child and they never grew out of their 2-year-old self. You love those moments that you have with them in that phase, but growth and change is part of life. It's necessary. And also part of that is death. What is cyclical in nature is also cyclical in our lives. It is the life, death process. And if we resist that in our lives, that is what's called playing silly games and winning silly prizes. You end up doing yourself a damage because you're resisting what is natural and what is meant to be. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on about all of that, but what has been showing up in my life, I'm listening to this audiobook about how to become an elder, and she tells a lot of stories that are folklore and explains them in ways you're like, oh my gosh, I never thought of the hidden meaning to that, I left the childhood stories behind and didn't really think about what they meant and why they had been told in the first place. And then what has, so I'm listening to this audiobook, and it's, reminding me to embrace the cycles. And especially, like, we like to focus on or embrace the gifts of life. Okay. So we like to focus on the gift of beauty and intelligence and other gifts and talents and whatever. But one of the gifts life has to offer us is also the process of life, death, life, death. The old fades away. And if we cling to it, we hurt ourselves and we hurt others around us. Not on purpose, it just happens that way. We're not meant to stay in the past. We're meant to evolve and grow and become. When you plant a rose bush, what are you hoping for? You can't wait to see those blooms. You hope, you nurture that plant. You probably use some kind of compost or manure to put nourishment into the soil so the roots of that plant will get all of the nutrients it needs to become its best self. And and then, you have the joy and the pleasure of the fragrance of those blooms. And it's the same in our lives. We want the blooms, but we freaking hate it when it's time to put up with the compost because it stinks, right? It's a bunch of dead stuff, and manure is compost too. Well, nobody likes that. But those are the things that add richness to the soil of your life so that you can become, and so that you can not only become all that you are, but like reach your highest potential even. So I'm sitting here, journaling about these triggers and realizing, the key triggers are control and manipulation. That sets me off big time. And sabotage and betrayal as well. And those were key components of my life for 23 years. And that's a lot of just all the details that are wrapped up in those things. It's just, it was a lot of mind fuckery. But things that came to me as I was thinking of the life cycle are the processes we go through, the mourning. I'm mourning what I lost. And this, again, don't rush the healing process. And I wanted to say this because in the last 2 videos I made, I was like, I don't want to give the impression like, oh, I'm just going to heal this weekend, because my brain does that, okay? My brain is like, okay, well, I'll just clean the whole house this weekend. No, you won't. Please give me a break. You've worked all week. You're tired. You want to have some bounce back time. You need to give that to yourself. So you need to let things, what's the rush? You afraid that dirt's going to get away from you? No, it'll sit there until you get to it. I'm not hosting a big event at my house this weekend. Therefore, I don't need to knock myself out to make everything look just so this weekend. So, likewise, I've already been through a lot. So this healing process doesn't need to be a rushed thing that I do. I want, and here's the other thing. If I try to rush it or push myself, what's going to happen? My inner self is just going to kind of like recoil, because it's like, this is touchy stuff. So I'm going to need some comfort. I need to think about that and setting the tone for the thing. Do I need candles? Maybe I want to do the fireplace and candles tonight and have some comfy comfort food. Or maybe I want to have, hey, I'm going to do this little ceremony tonight in a ritual of like moving through this process, accepting whatever I need to do. But I'm just saying, tender, loving care means thoughtful awareness, being mindful of what is going on. 23 years of mind fuckery, emotional abuse, being betrayed, sabotaged, controlled, and manipulated by the person who swore that he just loved me more than anyone ever could. And I was so overwhelmed, depressed, isolated, clueless, ignorant, doing the best I could with what I understood and had to work with. All those years, I prayed for change. I prayed for better, for us to learn and grow together, for us to be able to create a peaceful, loving home that would be a haven to our whole family. For us to learn how to break out of old cycles and patterns that kept us repeating the same painful shit over and over. And you know who benefited from that? Me. One day I finally was strong enough to say, no, I see what's really going on here, and I am strong enough to tell myself the truth. This marriage was a sinking ship right from the start. And at this point, if I do not escape by the skin of my teeth, I will lose myself, and I don't think I'll ever find me again. And that thought really scared me. It really, yeah. But look, here's what I'm saying about don't rush it, because what made me strong was I was led to look into, and I'm talking about, if you're wondering, who led you? Okay, my intuition, the Holy Spirit, God, the universe, angels, all of them that helped, whoever they are, whatever you believe, the help I received, I was led. That's it. I was led to information about codependency. It kept coming up in my life. And I knew I was supposed to research it for myself. I didn't want to. Thanks. That's a can of worms I don't want to deal with. And the universe, God, Holy Spirit, my intuition, my higher self was like, yeah, girl, you do. Because you're praying these prayers and saying, get me out of here. Well, hello, I'm throwing you a rope. Okay? I'm sending you, I'm tossing out a life vest to you. Put it on. So these things take time. Learning, there's a verse that says faith comes by hearing. This is true across the board for everything. We've got to hear it and hear it and hear it and hear it and hear it. And then we're like, oh, that? Yes, that. And in the meantime, we learn, hopefully, to be more patient with ourselves and understanding of ourselves, and hopefully more compassionate toward ourselves and others. Because when you see how goofy you are, you can't help but look at somebody else and you stop saying, now, why did they do that? I don't understand. You go, oh, who knows what's going on? It could be this, it could be that. I don't know, and I don't care. I get it. I, too, am a goofy human from time to time, okay? Fine. And I'm just going to be on my merry way. Anyway, let me come back to my point of don't rush the healing process. So I'm listening to this book by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and there is just like, I'm going to listen to her books over and over again for the rest of my life because they are rich. They are rich. They're deep. And you learn line upon line, precept upon precept. You got building blocks, So you listen to books like that, you listen and you get a few morsels and tidbits of really good stuff, and you start trying to assimilate and figure out, how does this work in my life? How do I apply this? Does it even fit? Is it even useful to me? And then you go back and listen to it again because you're like, ooh, that was really good. I want to. And you get more from it, and you start building more wisdom, more truth that really helps you become more you, and less of the BS, less of the ego stuff, the fluff. So anyway, then talk about being led. I turned on YouTube because I was going to eat my lunch, and I was like, what can I watch while I'm eating my lunch? Let me flip around and see what's on. And there's a TED Talk about betrayal, what people are not talking about. And I was like, okay, really? So of course I watch it. And she's talking about, this woman talking has been a marriage counselor. She's a psychiatrist. She's very well educated, and has thousands of hours of experience counseling people through these kind of things. And so she was talking about how it had been the norm forever and ever to deal with the feeling of betrayal, the wound of betrayal, the same way you deal with grief. But she said, here's the thing. Grief is the loss of someone or something else. Betrayal is the loss of yourself. The loss of self. And this loss is buried in shame, which is, we cringe and hide from shame. And Brene Brown has been the exposer and uncoverer of the power of shame in our lives, and how it has crushed us and held us and kept us from healing and becoming our truest selves. But that's the point is, so I'm listening to this thing, and she's talking about betrayal includes the loss of innocence and identity, the loss of role and reputation, the loss of being seen and heard. And she talks about 3 different states of being as you process through betrayal. And it's been really good. But I'm saying all this because this is what I'm going through. This is my healing journey. And I'm remembering this is the healing journey. Years ago, I gave up the struggle against, when I first started my healing journey, I wanted to, it's so funny to me, but also I'm like, and so typical of me too, because I'm like, let's knock it out and get it done. I wanted to heal in a year. I was in so much pain emotionally. God, my heart ached. It even makes me feel like crying now. I remember just feeling like I was just reeling in the devastation of my life. And one of the things about betrayal, so there's a state of confusion, a state of worthlessness, and a state of powerlessness. And part of that powerlessness is thinking to yourself, my life has been completely destroyed, and they just moved on like nothing happened. And it's unfair. And who's going to do something about this? Oh my God, all the feelings. It was so overwhelming. Here I was, a person who had no experience because, my whole life was just like, everybody was like, shake it off, pull yourself up by your big girl pants, da 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 da. Child of the 80s here and whatever. So there was no emotional awareness, very little emotional intelligence. So I was in this point where I was like, I have to feel these feelings. I can't numb out. I still did numb out in different ways, but I was like, I'm journaling all I can. I'm using essential oils to help try to calm myself. And, I did everything, all the self-care things that I had been taught to do, by different ones that I listened to and read. And here I am today, and I'm not resisting. Even I do. I know, and I am doing what I need to do. Excuse me, my lunch was good. So I'm doing the journaling and stuff, and what I'm realizing today is you're not doing this all in a weekend. It's going to take what it takes. So let's move forward. And and here's the other thing. What I experience is it makes me feel very tired. So I need a break. I can't just sit with this and I'm going to journal and move right through it. No, friend, no. But I do this to myself probably every time that a trigger comes up, because there are usually pretty good gaps in time between healing moments or whatever. Anyway, all of this to say, I am feeling my way forward, not only in this process, but in my life to the best of my ability. This is how I do it. I feel my way forward. My mind thinks one thing. Oh, well, we'll just, add that to the to-do list. We got to heal ourselves this weekend. Yeah, we're on it. And then my heart, as I actually sit down to go through it, my heart's like, girl, calm yourself down. You're not going to knock this all out in a weekend. Like, just be kind to you and allow. Do you need to take a nap? Go ahead. Take a nap. Come back to this. Keep coming back, because you need to validate what happened. You need to support and show your inner self love. You need to do all the things you need to do and trust your intuition and follow that, because it's not ever going to lead you wrong. So, and I will say, like the big breakthrough moments I've had, there's one in particular I'm thinking of where I was really stuck, and I was like, I got to go talk to somebody to help me get unstuck. Usually I can figure out what is behind these triggers, but I couldn't figure out what was behind it. And it's because I didn't want to deal with what was behind the triggers. I went to a therapist. She was great. And she was like, in the first session, I'm telling her, so I'm here because these triggers, and I can't figure out what is the root. She's like, you really don't see it? And I go, no. She was like, it's grief. You're not done grieving your marriage. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yes, I am. I am not crying any more tears over that. No, I'm not. And because that's what came to me, I was like, I have cried so many tears over that. Are you kidding? I drove home, and I said out loud in the car as I was driving home, I was like, I am not shedding one more tear over that idiot, over, whatever. And then in the next 3 months, I did accept the challenge in front of me, and I did deal with the stuff. I felt my way forward, and it took 3 months. And then I had a breakthrough night where I just did what I was led to do. I sat down with my journal. I turned on this music that I just felt, that's what came to me. I was like, I lit some candles. I was in a comfy, cozy space that felt very snuggly and safe and secure. And then I turned on some music that, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's the music. And started writing in my journal. And then a certain song started playing, and I was like, I have to get up and dance to that. And not like Shake Your Groove thing or Bust a Move or Saturday Night Fever or any of the like, not the Macarena, but dance intuitively, dance symbolically. And that's what I did. And I did what I felt to do. I moved to the music the way I just felt I was supposed to. And it ended up with me. At one point, I was holding my arms as if I was holding a baby in them. And I was rocking the baby and crying my eyes out and expressing all my love for that baby. And then I laid it down on the hearth at my fireplace, the fireplace in the room, at the end of the song, and I let it go. And it was profound, the difference I felt in myself. And just a week later, I was able to sit in a courtroom side by side, pretty much, with my ex, whom I had not seen at that time, I hadn't seen him in 5 years. And I didn't want to see him. Like, the idea of it really shook me. But after I did that healing work, a week later, I sat with, maybe a width of 2 feet between me and him in the same pew in a courtroom, watching our son be sworn in as a firefighter. And I knew, like, things in your head, but there are times you have to have, your heart needs to have a breakthrough, or there has to be a heart and brain alignment. There has to be healing. You've got to get the shit out of the way, and yeah, because of therapy, she told me the truth that I didn't want to face. I was never going to see that truth by myself. I didn't want to, because like I said, when I drove home from that first meeting with her, I said out loud, I do not want to shed one more tear over that man. Are you kidding me? But it wasn't just him. I was over him. It's everything else I lost. All the dreams, all the plans, all the things that were assumed, well, we're a couple, so this and so that, and so this is how it is. I lost what it was. I lost what it wasn't, what it never was. The betrayal of this person acting like, oh yeah, this is what we are and this is what we will have, and then sabotaging it left, right, and center, and betraying me over and over and over again. That's a lot to grieve, but now I realize betrayal is different. And I love that I was guided to that today, to see. Do you see what I'm saying? Holy fuck. Here I am ready to deal with this. It's another round. And like I said in the last video, another round where we're going deeper this time. This time we're coming around to it, and this is what we're going to deal with. Everything is layers, 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 layers. And you got to have patience for life. You got to have patience for you. You haven't done this before. You've not done this specific work before. For people who think, well, past lives or whatever. Yeah. Well, you learn stuff in your past lives, but this is this life. Okay? So these are new lessons. These are things you didn't conquer before, whether you believe in past lives or not. You have not been here and done this as yourself in this body, your body, for me, I haven't done this before. I should have a lot of patience for myself, a lot of grace, a lot of, I need to sit with and be present to my own life experience, and grab a pillow as a proxy and hug myself, hug that pillow tight and be like, damn, it's amazing. How resilient you are, what you've been through, and who I know you to be today. Wow. So this is why it's worth it to do this work. And my every waking moment isn't about the healing journey, and yet it is. It's part of life. If I walk into my kitchen and I start cutting an apple apart, I'm going to dice it up or whatever, and I cut myself, what am I going to do? Ignore it and get blood all over the food and everything? That's gross. No, I'm going to clean it. I don't want it to get infected and funky, and it hurts. It'll feel better once it's bound up. So I'm going to clean it. If I need to put some, on it? Triple antibiotic something with pain reliever, that might be nice. And put a Band-Aid on it, then I will. Then I can get on with life, I've had to, it's been a long journey for me. I was not in the beginning of this journey of learning, healing, and growing. I was really impatient with myself. So merciless sometimes. And I remember talking with friends, and them looking at me and saying, Marcy, be patient with yourself. You've really been through a lot. And they knew just a smidge of what I'd been through. I hadn't told them everything. I didn't have the energy to tell or recall everything. And because of the level of mindfuckery I had been exposed to, pardon my spit, my memory was jacked up. There was actually brain damage, which I'm happy to report. If you will walk with yourself and make healing a part of your life journey, if you will learn to love yourself, if you will become more self-aware, if you will take the time to listen to the beating of your own heart, to the cries of your own heart and soul, the reward is phenomenal. You regain you. That is something no one can take from you. You're not going to lose it when you die. You're going to take you with you, and that's all you're taking with you. You are your greatest treasure, and you are the gift that you have to share with this world. It is of utmost importance that you become self-aware and learn to love and understand your system. If you had a vehicle given to you, and there's a manual that comes with it, but you never read the manual, and you drive the vehicle and you get so frustrated, I wish it did this, I wish it did that. And somebody who has a similar vehicle, you say that in passing to them one day, and they go, you can. Do you ever read that manual? Yeah, you can do that. You could do this. Did you know you could do this? No, I didn't know I could do that. Okay, well, we didn't come with a manual. But if you will begin your journey of self-awareness, learning to love yourself, you will discover the miraculousness that you are and the power that you have that will allow you to do things you didn't see coming, you know? Anyway, it's a journey. I'm not going to heal myself in an instant this weekend. Damn it. Because there is a part of me that really wants to. I'm like, can we hurry up and do this? Give me a Band-Aid. I'll be fine. It's just a flesh wound. But it's not. And also, I do love me and I'm worth it. I went through a lot of shit and I deserve this. I deserve this moment with myself to stop for a minute or however long it's going to be, to stop and be present with myself and appreciate what has been, the effect it's had on me. You know, everything I went through not only hurt me and injured me, but I bet you my ex never imagined who I would become. So he also played a role in me becoming fucking fantastic. And I don't know if I would have discovered that about myself without going through some excruciating things. That doesn't make his behavior okay. Not at all. What I'm telling you is you can be an alchemist and you can take the shit that you've been handed and you make yourself the best damn garden the world has ever seen. You do have that power. You know, the old thing, take the lemons and make lemonade. Don't stop there. Hello. You are a fucking powerhouse of magic and miraculousness. What else can you do with a lemon? You can clean, you can make cake, cheesecake, add some blueberry, do the thing. Okay? We are not just here to get hurt and survive and try to trudge through and make it out of here the best way we can. Oh no. I want to take what I'm given and blow your mind. Blow my mind. I don't know what you need. I don't know what you want. I know what I want, and I'm amazed, at where I am today, because when I left my ex, I had no clue how I was even going to survive. Seriously. And I wouldn't let myself dwell on it because it made my knees go wobbly. I had no idea how I was going to make it because I had been a homemaker, a wife, homemaker, home educator. I homeschooled my kids through high school, from littles to bigs, and on a shoestring budget with somebody sabotaging me all the fucking time because, I know I'm strong as fuck. I know I know what I'm made of. I got a lot of good stuff. And I know that you can hand me a mess and I can turn it into something beautiful. Watch me. Yeah, I could totally do it. I have done it over and over and over again, wherever I go. Because I want to, and I have the power to. So, yeah. So anyway, that's a thing. And yeah, don't rush the process. Okay, Mars? Don't forget that. Don't rush the process. Allow love's flow. My inner self, my intuition knows exactly the healing process that I need to go through at this time. It's not going to be the same as it was the last time. I'm not going to try and repeat that. It's not some special formula that always works. That was the formula that worked then. I'm looking for the formula, for now. So anyway, that is all I will say about that. And I will talk to you again later, I'm sure.